and he was screaming at the top of his lungs, "I don't want to die! Please don't let me die! Please! Please save me! I'm dying! I'm dying!" He was screaming so loud, and that's when I was looking at him, and I'm looking around like this, and I'm doing everything I can to put water on people to bring the heat down. Now I was dealing with people in trances and saying they were dying, and their arm skin was gone. I mean, this was right away.
So this sounds like a horror show.
It was. One guy, he had fallen into the pit in the middle, fallen into the pit of molten rocks, and he had burned his entire arm, and all the white of his skin was gone, and the skin was just basically hanging off of his elbow, so down his leg, down both sides of his arms, and he was sitting there staring, not reacting to the burned arm, and I was trying to take care of him, and his mindset was getting back into there. He said, "I'm not done. I've got to go back in." I said, "No, you don't have to go back in. You've done it. You're okay." "No, no, no. This is wrong. I've got to go. Why did this happen? Why am I here? I need to go back." And as soon as the flap opened, boom.
He went back in?
He went back in.
Martin says at this point she wanted to call 911, but she says Ray's staffers told her no.
And they told me that that wasn't something that would be done, because in the past 911 had been called, and James got very, very angry at the person who called 911. So that had already been squashed. So I was in the mode of taking care of people. And they told me, "Melinda, get the look off of your face because you're scaring people. You're going to make people think this isn't normal."
So James Ray's staffers told you, fix your face so you don't scare people?
Correct. Because I had this look of like, what the heck?
Did anybody reach inside the sweat lodge and say, "We got people in trouble out here"?
People were being dragged out right in front of James.
So he had to have known that things were...
I don't know. All I know is it was quickly becoming like a MASH unit. People were vomiting, projectile vomiting everywhere. People were laying in vomit, and they didn't even care because they were suffering so badly.
Okay, so when James Ray exits the sweat lodge and sees this panorama, what is his reaction?
Well, I just happened to be on that side of the tent when James came out. And he came out, and he stretched his arms up, and everybody hosed him off, and he's like, "Hey, thanks." And his assistant came out, and they just looked amazing. And it really stopped me in my tracks. I just stopped, and I said, how can you walk out of there when all of these people are down, and they look near death, and you guys can walk out there looking like you just spent the day in a spa? It was incredible to me. When he walked out and he made a right-hand turn and he went to go sit down and get a drink of water, the guy who had been screaming at me saying he didn't want to die, I'm dying, please don't let me die. James walked by him and he goes, "Hey, I died and I came back to life." And James was like, "Yeah, man," gave him a high five. And, I think James didn't really realize to what extent all this stuff was going on.
As Martin performed CPR on a dying woman, she says her boss simply stared.
And I look up and he's standing right over my head, watching. He's watching from stand-up position. He didn't offer to help. He didn't say anything, nothing at all. And he was like kind of just looking around. I'm sure he was shocked, but so was I. But that didn't stop me from getting down on the ground and, working and trying to get people back to life.
Did you see him do anything to help anybody?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.